It's not quite Albert Park for those of us in Europe, but it's also not quite Shanghai. Let's talk about the last of the early morning starts for F1 this year. Let's talk Suzuka. And we'll start off with the schedule because there's a 9-hour difference between the time in Suzuka and the time back here in Europe. So for someone like myself in the UK. Starting off, we'll have Ferrari Challenge Japan, 9 o'clock local time for their practice, and F1 FP1 is at 11:30 local time, or 2:30 in the morning, back here in the UK. Then you've got Carrera Cup Japan just afterwards with their practice at 1 PM local, before FP2 for F1 at 3 PM local time, which is, 6 AM local? No, 6 AM UK even. Then Ferrari Challenge Japan at 4:30 PM local time has its qualifying to round out Friday's action. Saturday open qualifying for the Porsches at 10 o'clock local, followed by FP3 at 11:30 local time, or if you're in the UK again, 2:30 in the morning. It's an early start. Ferrari Challenge Japan has its first race at 1:10 PM, 4:10 if you're looking to find some way to watch it back here in Blighty. But then qualifying is at 3 PM local time, which is, 6 AM UK. And that ends Saturday's action. Sunday, you have the second race Ferrari Challenge, 9:40 local. The race for the Carrera Cup at just before 11 o'clock local, 10:55 local. And then the Japanese Grand Prix, 2 PM local time. Though for those of us in the UK, I believe it's 6 AM because daylight savings kicks in. One of the few times where I'd be glad to lose an hour because my alarm will wake me up slightly earlier. And of course, with 2 weeks off from the last race and 5 weeks until the next one, this is going to be an interesting event in Suzuka. Because when we get to Miami, there'll probably be some upgrades on the cars. Drivers going into a long break. They've had a bit of a break between the two races, which means for some of them, they've stayed in the region, doing press or sponsorship commitments or just going on a holiday. But for others, they may have flown back. Max Verstappen, for example, might be jet-lagged because he's been in Germany at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, where his team unfortunately got disqualified. But heading to Suzuka, we can expect to see a real blend. Real blend of people who want to get a really good run here to make up for a poor start to the season, such as, say, poor Oscar Piastri, who hasn't done a single lap of a Grand Prix yet this season. And, what a place to do it. Because the thing is with Suzuka is it will present another unique challenge for the 2026 generation of F1 cars. Bearing in mind that DRS has been limited to only one zone for, since DRS zones were a thing. And that's because of things such as, 130R. So it'll be interesting to see how straight line mode gets applied here, whether we'd say have it on the run out of the Degners or on the run down to 130R. It'll also be interesting to see how the lift and coast method works through the S's, down through Dunlop. Because if you've got a car that can accelerate quick, that can spool up quick, that doesn't have to depend as much on the electrical energy, you might be in for something. So, Ferrari with their lightning starts, they could stand to really benefit here. At the same time, this is a place where chassis can play a big part. And I would say an example of chassis playing a big part, but also it being hard to overtake around here, comes from 2025, where Max Verstappen was able to win, having pipped the two McLarens to pole position, and then just staying at the front, just comfortably. Now, we've seen a lot of unorthodox and opportune moves in F1 this season. We have the 26 cars promote that. But if you're able to get a good launch, if you're able to get a good qualifying, if you have a consistent car in terms of its performance, you should be able to do quite well. And that Red Bull's been looking like a good platform for both drivers, or at least across both drivers, although Verstappen has been complaining in bits and pieces about it as well. So it could be that we have a surprise or two this weekend. It could genuinely be that we see Mercedes not win because somebody managed to get ahead and hold them at bay. Or it could be that we're talking absolute nonsense and they absolutely dominate the weekend because it appears that not only do they have the best combination of car and chassis, but they may have the best individually for both. Either way, folks, those are my thoughts, those are my feelings, and those are my observations. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. As always on this channel, thanks so much for watching and joining, and till next time, it's bye-bye for now.